Hello and welcome to Tuesday's edition of Yesterday in Baseball. My name is Luke. We've got a great show coming up for you guys. Free agency has been crazy. The hot stove has been cooking. As I said with the winter meetings episode, there hasn't been a lot of trade action, but boy, have we got signings and we've got plenty to cover. Today, I think we're covering 7 or 10, around that range, and then we're going to talk about some trade rumors that's been floating around and get into all that. But let's get into Jorge Polanco signing a 2-year deal with the Mets and all the other news and action. Like I said, Jorge Polanco and the Mets agreed to a 2-year, $40 million deal. Polanco played second base for the Mariners last year, hit 26 homers, had a career best 134 OPS plus in 2025, in a tough ballpark to hit in. Now the Mets have been an interesting offseason, losing Edwin Diaz and Pete Alonso, Brandon Nimmo. They brought in Marcus Semien, who is a second baseman, and Jorge Polanco, who's another second baseman. They said maybe he'll DH, maybe he'll play some first base. It'll be interesting to see where they slot him, but 2 years, $40 million, maybe a little bit bigger of a deal than I thought Polanco would get, but I still think he'll be a good fit on that roster. Our next deal, we have Kenley Jansen, who went to the Tigers on a 1-year, $11 million deal. He had a solid 2.59 ERA last year with the Angels, 29 saves, a 3.98 FIP. Again, 29 saves on a bad team. That's impressive. But he'll go to a team with some loftier expectations in the Tigers, helping bolster the back end of that bullpen that was solid for most of the year, but kind of shaky down the stretch. They have a lot of guys who can close, so it'll be interesting to see if it's done by committee or what. But again, 1-year, $11 million deal, Kenley Jansen to the Tigers. We're just going to keep going rapid fire. A lot of signings. The next is Dustin May. He signed a 1-year deal with the Cardinals. The salary is not public at the moment. I think it's still pending a physical, and the Cardinals haven't made it official, so maybe there's a chance something fell through. But as of now, our word is that Dustin May to the Cardinals. He had a 4.96 ERA in 2025. He's got a career 3.86 as a starter. You know, he's got a lot of upside. He's got some great stuff. I think his location is his biggest problem. For the Cardinals, I think it's a good deal. Either you get upside, you need innings from him no matter what. And if it doesn't work out, you just, you can trade him. Or if it does work out, again, you just trade him. So I think a good deal there. And the Brewers and Royals agreed to a trade. Angel Zerpa to Milwaukee. They said they're going to likely use him as a starter for Isaac Collins and Nick Mears. Isaac Collins was a rookie last year, balled out, put up 2.1 WAR in the outfield, 118 OPS plus. The Royals get him for 5 years of control. The downside is his age. He's a bit older. And then Nick Mears, a solid reliever. So seems like a need for a need there. Merrill Kelly is having a reunion with the Arizona Diamondbacks on a 2-year, $40 million deal. He had a 3.52 ERA last year, 184 innings pitched in 2025. And again, he was with the D-backs. They traded him at the deadline to the Rangers. They get him back. Previous to that stint with the Raiders, he spent his entire career with the Diamondbacks. Josh Bell in Minnesota agreed to a 1-year, $7 million deal. The 33-year-old first baseman had a good year last year, putting up 22 homers, a solid year in 2025. He's got a career 114 OPS plus, so just above average bat. Good to have over there first base in Minnesota. They really needed a first baseman, so hopefully he'll have some success there for them. Again, I'd expect him to be kind of a trade target, someone they're looking to flip at the deadline. So, they already just kicked off another rebuild last year, so he probably won't be around for the long haul. Perhaps I'll say this is my second favorite contract out of all the ones we're covering here, is Adolis Garcia to the Philadelphia Phillies in a 1-year, $10 million deal. He's been kind of on a downward trajectory since his amazing 2023. His OBP was a 271 last year, 227 batting average. He still hit 19 homers and put up 2.7 WAR, but the bat has really declined. I think going to a hitter-friendly park out in Philly is going to help him a lot. Again, that roster there, everyone's all in on the winning there, and I think he's got a lot of good mentors within Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, to kind of help him find his swing, find his groove again. I think this will end up being a bargain, and I think he'll end up being a mainstay out in Philly, but again, it's too early to tell. He's got a great career so far, though, and I expect him to be able to bounce back and find his footing there. Now, this is my favorite deal out of all of these, is Tyler Rogers to the Toronto Blue Jays. Yes, they're getting a lot of deals done this offseason. 3 years, $37 million. Again, this is that guy. He was out in San Francisco's bullpen forever, just a crazy submarine pitcher, and it works. He's got a 1.98 ERA from 2025, a career 2.76. I mean, a .944 whip. That's as good as it gets. And I saw something interesting that now, as the Blue Jays have Trey Savage and Tyler Rogers, they have the pitcher with the highest release point in baseball and the pitcher with the lowest release point. So I think that's kind of interesting and fun. They're going to come at you from all angles. They're really working on that bullpen, just bolstering their team as a whole to get ready for a big playoff run, potentially a World Series run again next year. And I love watching Tyler Rogers, one of my favorite players in baseball. And for a 3-year, $37 million deal, good for him, good for Toronto. I love this deal. The last deal is one I don't care for too much. It's Ha-Seong Kim to the Atlanta Braves, 1-year, $20 million deal. Again, he's a solid defender. Atlanta's been looking for an answer at shortstop for a while. He played about 50 games last year between the Rays, and they waived him, and then he went to the Braves. And he put a .3 WAR, an 83 OPS plus in about 50 some odd games last year. And I think $20 million is very expensive for him. I get he's got a high defensive floor, and that's at a position where that's a premium, but I don't see a world where he's getting $20 million for 1 year and Adolis Garcia is getting $10 million for 1 year. I don't see him as being more valuable than Garcia no matter what. But, I mean, supply and demand. There's not a lot of shortstop out there this year, and Atlanta needed one. So, interesting deal in my opinion. I don't know if he's quite worth that, but hey, go out there, ball out, and prove me wrong. Thank you guys for bearing with me. I know that was kind of rapid fire, but that is all the deals we've had since our last show. So a lot of action. The hot stove is cooking. But now let's get into some trade rumors. We'll start off these trade rumors with Brendan Donovan and the Cardinals. The Cardinals are rumored to be moving him. And the Mariners and Giants are expected to be front runners for him at the moment. As someone who's watched him the last 3 or 4 years now, he's a second baseman who literally can play anywhere on the diamond except for catcher. And I think he was the Cardinals' emergency catcher for a while. He never had to be used there though. But he won the Gold Glove at the utility position. He might not be great at center field just because of some lack of speed, but you know, corner outfields, anywhere in the infield, he's an exceptional defender, and he's a great bat. He really broke out last year. I mean, his rookie year, he had almost a 400 OBP. Just a solid hitter. He's not going to hit for a ton of pop, but it won't be nothing, you know, 12 to 15 homers a year, get a batting average around 280 and, you know, high 300s in OBP. So he's a great player. I expect him to get moved this winter just because his value is so high right now. Teams are so in on him. The lone Cardinal All-Star from last year. That's the team with Wilson Contreras, Nolan Arenado, formerly Sonny Gray, Mason Wynn. So he was a standout on a team that wasn't great but has a lot of great talent. And I think he'd be a great fit with the Mariners after losing Jorge Polanco. Same thing with the Giants, just bolster that infield, him with William Adames up the middle. That'd be pretty fun to watch. It's come out that Tyler Glasnow, who's initially believed to be in trade rumors, is now not expected to be traded. Not a big surprise to me. They traded for him and signed a big extension with him, and their starting pitching seems to be thin every year. So that's kind of interesting that he'll be staying put. Not too surprising. There's teams interested in Luis Robert of the White Sox, and again, kind of an interesting one. It seemed like they would have dealt him back in 2023. They didn't, and they're kind of on the uptick, the upslope of their rebuild, in my opinion. I think he's worth holding on to at this point. His value isn't the highest. Teams don't hold him in a super high regard from what I hear. And I think he could still be a good player out there in the outfield. Like I said, I mean, the offense is not bad out there in the White Sox. Their pitching, they seem to kind of find a string together every year. If they're starting to have success again, if I'm the White Sox GM, I want Robert in the lineup there. So that's kind of interesting to see how that works out. And the last one we'll get into today is Jazz Chisholm Jr. There's been some interest amongst teams. He's been that second base, third base guy for the Yankees the past year and a half. He's got the pop 30-30 season last year, but still couldn't even make the cut to start Game 1 of the Wild Card Series in the playoffs last year, and did a press conference with his back to the media. Really a special guy on all fronts. I'd be interested to see who ends up dealing for him, but I don't know. The Yankees, I think they should hold on to him also, ride out his contract. He's been a 30-30 guy. He kind of just seems like a natural born Yankee there, and the ballpark just plays to his skill set so much. I think if I'm the Yankees, I'm wanting to hold on to Jazz and maybe even give him an extension or something. I don't know. It seems like he's a guy that's capable of big things, especially, like I said, that big 30-30 season. So we're going to keep you guys up to date on everything here. There's been a lot of action, a lot of moves. Hopefully we get an actual trade soon, though, because there's a lot of trade rumors and not a lot of trades happening. Thank you guys so much for listening. That's all we've got for you on this Tuesday. Like I said, a jam-packed show, so thank you guys for keeping up. And the hot stove is finally cooking. We're getting some good baseball news before the holidays here. And I'm not sure exactly what it'll be, but it'll be a fun, kind of spunky episode on Friday. A little bit of some variety from our usual news. Again, if there's any big news, we'll cover it. But, maybe another fun list or ranking or whatnot. So thank you guys again so much for listening. If you made it this far, please consider subscribing or following if you're on Spotify. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. Thank you guys again so much, and look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Take care.